All right, so call the meeting to order at 7:13 on the 12th. This is my official apology for getting the agenda out so late. It's been busy. The other thing we need to do, so we have the first item is the approval of the minutes of December 8th. I attached those to the agenda, and I know Aaron sent them out earlier. Does anybody have any comments or corrections for the meeting minutes?
No, they look good.
Okay, you want to take a quick look, Tone?
I just got them. I know.
Well, she sent them out the day after the meeting, so.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
I don't know where I was.
So we'll put that on hold. We'll give Tony a moment. Any additions to the agenda that we want to discuss? I know there's one that I have to actually add. All right, so one of the items is Tony's going to give an update on the a quick update in regards to the noise of the leaf blowers, which should have been part of the old business. And I want to give an update on solar. Any other additions or public comment?
Let me just go back. I think the minutes are fine.
Okay, so do we have a motion to accept the minutes of December 8th?
I will make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay, Tony 1. Caitlin 2. Okay, all in favor of accepting minutes? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, perfect. So moving forward, old business, Meet Our Farmers update. Tova is not on the call. Does anybody, I think she's been doing a great job with that. I hope that she continues. Does anybody else have any updates in regards to the Meet Our Farmers? Has everybody been seeing the articles on social media?
Yeah, I've been seeing them and reading them. She's doing a great job. Did you hear the good news? Kathy and Howie Bronson are bringing back Kirby. He used to work on the farm, and he's now gonna, I guess, run it.
Yep, I heard.
How great is that?
I think that's great.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
And the people that were running it have already left. They've left town.
Yeah, they bought a farm up in what is it, Preston or something?
Somewhere, I don't know. But Kirby's already, according to Howie, Kirby's already working in the greenhouse. So.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's great. I did not know that. That's awesome.
So the next, I'm gonna hold off on recycling for a second and jump to reimbursement process. Is anybody waiting for any reimbursements?
No, I donated my stuff.
Okay. Tony, Jess?
Nope, haven't spent any money.
All right. All right. So we got a couple of things that we got to still do reimbursements for, but I just want to make sure if anybody had any questions that we had time to answer that. So the next thing is, and again, I apologize. I had bronchitis for a couple of weeks, so I was in shambles, and Jess did an awesome job putting together some talking points regarding the trash talk and the and what she's been up to. And we're going to give her the floor to kind of give an update on that. So the bullet points, if you haven't seen them, are in the email for reference, and I'm sure she's going to add a lot of color to that tonight. So Jess, with that, I'll give you the floor. Do you want me to put up your bullet points?
That's okay. Yeah, if you want to. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because my computer's frozen in a lot of places, so I wasn't sure what was happening. So at least you can hear me. Yeah, so some links there for us to look at for people that want to look further the information. But so the trash chalk basically is all set up right after our last meeting. Jen Heaton-Jones from HRRA is available on the 20th of January. Right now, though, there's 2 other Zoom meetings happening for the housing special meeting and the zoning commission. Both have Zoom meetings that night. So we had asked that she would do the 5:30 time slot, but she wanted to do the later one. I guess it was better for her schedule. So I'm in the process right now of asking her if she could do the following Thursday, the 27th. If she can't do that, then we're just gonna bust a move and get an email out there in the email blast tomorrow to do it next week. It'll just have to be the same time as the other ones, but the Zoom will be recorded and then we can put it out there in other future promotional emails and that sort of thing for people to watch it whenever they want to, since it'll be recorded.
So just because of the importance of some of the other calls that are taking place at that particular time, we definitely don't want to detract anybody who would be very interested in this from missing some of those other meetings.
Yes.
If she cannot do, I know you're trying to push her to do the 27th, but do you think that just having it any other day after that would be more beneficial?
You mean any other day?
Yeah, other than January 20th. If we just found her next availability.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to keep it within January, and I can't remember why we suggested the 20th, because we looked at the general calendar to see what other things might be happening, but the calendar for the town hall meeting sort of thing is pretty open. So I think she could do it any day. I just picked the next Thursday. But that's why, I think that it could be on any of those days that it doesn't conflict with another one of the meetings. I just know a lot of the, mainly it was Patrick who wanted to attend it, and he has to attend the housing meeting.
Mm-hmm. Would anyone be opposed of calling an audible based on the feedback from Jen? Do you give, maybe Jess, if you worked with me, would anybody be opposed to just us rescheduling it before our next meeting? I mean, it doesn't it's not going to come, there's no cost to us, so it doesn't have to go to a vote. Right? But we would like the consensus of the group in regards to.
You mean to schedule it sometime, let's say in February before our next meeting?
Well, whether it be I just would really like to get it done in January, but let's say we're proposing to her the 27th, but if she can't do the 27th, but can do the 26th, we just make it the 26th.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Or the 28th, yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Basically, is everybody okay with us just scheduling it whenever we can get it in there with everybody's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then once I talk to her tomorrow or as soon as I can, I'll just figure it out. And
well, just reach out to me, Jess, because I'd like to coordinate that with Pat's office as well.
Sure. So then we had originally thought there would be a hybrid, and we were all set up for that to do it in the town hall. But I think at this point, we'll just do a Zoom because it'll be easier. And then, so that's where we are with that. So I just need to talk with Jen and figure out another date, or if it has to be on the 20th, then we're okay to just do it on the 20th.
So
Okay.
Jess, this is open to everybody?
Yeah, it's going to be for all residents. So we'll just put out an email blast,
Oh, good.
and put the information out there to get as many people that can watch.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'm thinking is that, if we're waiting to get back to her and it's, 8 days, it's next week or so, I don't want something to end up happening like the bat talk women where we didn't get it out fast enough or not a lot of people signed up and, I just felt real bad. So maybe the later date would be better.
Yeah, I think it might work out and best all the way around.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think we could probably put the message out through the library too, possibly, because there's always a lot of people asking in the library about recycling stuff. So hopefully she'll be able to do it then, or another day other than the 20th, so that it doesn't conflict with the other meeting.
I could maybe hand out flyers when we go there on Saturdays to people.
Okay.
Yeah. Just let me know, what date it is or whatever, and I'll make one up. I'll print them out and I'll go there.
Okay. That would be good. And then we could possibly do that, to hand them out at the senior center or that sort of thing too,
Well,
where
that's a good idea. Yeah.
some people might not. And maybe Wayne would let us have some in the market for people who don't necessarily, get communications.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Just let me know. You have my phone number and my email. So.
So, but Jess, I would really prefer us not to do it on the 20th.
Yeah.
If we can do, if there's any other date, because again, that's a pretty important thing for Roxbury right now.
Yeah.
And we don't want to give it any headwind if at all possible.
Exactly. And also we'd love to have Patrick be able to participate in it too. So
Exactly.
Okay, so I'll talk to Jen and see what other dates she might have available. If it has to be in February, then before our meeting, then we said we were all okay with just whatever day she can do it. And then I'll just communicate that to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, and so the next point was the Christmas lights. We were told at our recycling meeting that they were now to be recycled in the electronics bin. So I talked to Al and he put a box in there, and then I talked to Judy and she made a sign at the Judy from the town hall, and she made a sign and laminated it. And so evidently it was all set up. So that's in the electronics bin, so people can do the Christmas lights recycling. And then the 5-cent deposit collection. I talked to several people. I spoke to Al about it again, and of course he's not super excited about it. And he said that there wasn't any room in that big bin to store collected items until January, when they start being recollected again, or whenever the company gets their storage house or their warehouse sorted out and starts taking the stuff again. He said there wasn't really any room in there to store the material. So I talked to the guy who does the 5-cent recyclables for Reading, and he was a super nice guy and offered to drive an hour here to pick up our stuff and take it and to the recycling or the collection center in Stratford. But he said that to make it worth his while, we would need a full load, which was like something to like 80 to 100 bags. And we don't have that kind of volume. So we weren't able to have him. He was willing to do it in this interim time. And he was going to give us 4 cents on the 5. He takes 1 cent, and then he was going to give us 4 cents. So he was really a generous guy and really an interested person. But that won't work because we don't have a full load. And then, and we're already in the middle of January anyway. So hopefully the company will start taking the collection of material again. But I don't know when that is, when that's going to happen. Patrick will put out the email about that when that happens again. I did speak to another guy in New Milford. He's just an individual who also picks up the 5-cent deposits in New Milford and takes them to Big Y, but he just handles it by himself. And he said that he just couldn't do it. So we did try to find, some other options of people to take the material, but that's the stipulation, is it has to be that size of of a load. And then I did find out, I included this Bag Buddy information here. When I spoke to the guy who does the collections in Reading, he said he works with a lot of collectors, and he said to make it might be easier for Al to handle, because you just slide these bags to the side. You don't have to lift them out of the cans. And Al had mentioned that was very cumbersome and backbreaking work. So Patrick ordered these, and I guess has given them to him already. And I think that they would be beneficial too, because they can have the clear bags and people can see the items in there as opposed to a solid can. And it might be beneficial to help people recycle, put this, the right things in the right places. The miniature bottles, the nips, I think I might have misspoken and said that it was a tax. It's a 5-cent surcharge that is applied to all of the miniatures, and it doesn't go to the state. I don't know where the payments are coming from. It was said from the WSI, which I'm not really sure, some sort of waste management place, or I'm not sure what organization it's coming from, but they're collecting that surcharge, on the 5-cent surcharge on all the miniatures. And then they're giving it back to the towns and I was told for them to be able to choose to do some sort of recycling project with that. With our town, our one little package store, last year they sold about 14,000 of these, and the amount of money that we would receive would be $700. So it's not very much, but that's something for us to do with, and maybe that could be instrumental in helping us pay for our flyer that we were talking about, doing a mailer of recycling flyer or some other thing like that. So that's to be determined. We will start receiving that money in April, and then every 6 months after that, we'll get the check for that. So that's what I know about that. So that's a nice little chunk of money to do something with. And then to go along with the trash talk, I had asked Jen if she already has blurbs to go into emails about recycling points. And she also offered to generate specific ones for our town and our transfer station. And so I'm going to get these from her and give them to Patrick or the selectman's office, and so they can start putting those in the email once a week. Patrick was agreeable to that and likes that idea. And possibly we could take those, and if we wanted to, maybe we could put them on the Conservation Commission pages or something like that, however we want to distribute them. But I just thought that would be a good thing to do to, keep people informed, because there's been so many questions. And then we could also do a flyer. I had already started developing one a few years ago, and I worked with Jen on it. And maybe we could develop that and send that out as a mailer, so that people have just like a little flyer, poster that they could post in their pantry or wherever they want to keep it. So those were two points that were going along with the trash talk, just to keep people educated. And then I asked her specifically about what we could do, we could probably craft a specific one about the glass and why we changed up the system. And in this email that I sent you, I put the link that goes right to their page for glass recycling. And I also put the link that goes right to our Roxbury page. And you can click on, they've got, a number of items that you can click on that page for Roxbury recycling. And you just click on it and it tells you what to do with it or where to recycle it. And they have a lot of things there, but then they also have, with the glass specifically, they have a little video. And we could possibly post that video And we could put links, an email blast link to any of these specific things, maybe do once a week or something like that, so that it just takes people straight there, because not a lot of people have time to just go here and peruse this. So that was just the point with the educational part. And she also said the signage is the responsibility of the town, but she's willing to work with us to create better signage. And she has lots of towns where they've implemented successful signage programs, so we can work with her with that.
Hey, just right here, they have a link back to the Roxbury page.
Yeah.
Do we have on the Roxbury page, is there a hyperlink to this page?
I can't remember. I don't think that there was. And because we used to have the recycling flyer listed on that page, and I can't remember. I'm sorry. I did check it.
Find out. Can you guys see this? Are you
Yeah,
on,
I can see
or
it.
does it look like the Roxbury page now? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we might want to ask Jimmy. I don't know if you want to do that,
Yeah.
but here it would be beneficial to have a link to this page. The same way they did it here. It's very easy to do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more information right here.
Yeah.
How do you recycle ammunition? There we go. Do not put ammunition in the trash. See? Now I know.
I know. And there's the eyeglasses place. There's a place to drop off right on the town green in New Milford. I've taken a whole load of eyeglasses there. I don't know if they don't have it listed there, but there's a drop box right outside. I think it's their library. It's right downtown in New Milford. It's super easy. You just drop it off in the box outside. So
And I know the Lions does it too. The
That's-
Lions in Woodbury.
they do that. It's the Lions Club, but they have a box out. Drop them in. What if you go up to the side up there on the top left? It says what to do with. Does that link that to that page? I don't know if it does.
It
No.
goes to Department of Energy Conservation.
We do need to have that link on there, and I can talk to Jimmy about setting that up.
Well, actually, hold on. There was another one here. Let's see what this is. So this goes to the HRRA, but not to the Roxbury page on the HRRA.
Right, and I think we
It
need.
should go to this one.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what the HRRA is, so
Right, so
having that like that.
yeah. And then Jen said in the trash talk that she would explain more of why we put all the paper and the board, the cardboard stuff or the box board in with the other recycling now. She said that was just easier to explain. Basically, it was just contamination reasons. They have to sort it, push it all together anyway to sort it and get contaminants out. So then they said, just put the paper in there with it because they have to do that anyway. They have to go through and sort it anyway. But she would explain all of those details of stuff.
Yeah, that still baffles me because it seems to me that stuff gets all wet and soggy and.
I know. Well, yeah, that seems like it could be a problem. And I don't know, except for that she said it was getting all mixed together anyway. And even though we felt like it was very sorted at our transfer station, when it gets to them, they were mixing it all together anyway. So I don't know. She's going to explain all of that.
Okay, all right. I'm looking forward to that one.
And she also said that there was a flyer. I don't remember seeing that. She said that was a little flyer on the glass bin at the recycling at our transfer station that explained why we were doing the glass like that. A little handout flyer or brochure or something. I don't remember seeing those, but
Well, there is a brochure about the glass right in front of the glass bin. I remember that.
I thought that I've only been there a couple of times because my husband has the car, his little truck that he does all of that with. And I thought that there was one in a little bin, right, or a little plastic protective thing that people can get, but I don't know that people really pay attention to it. So we could,
I don't know, the glass one, that's an easy one because, it's pretty easy to figure out what's glass and what isn't glass.
right. But I mean, people want to know why we're doing that, why we're separating the glass out. They want to know the why of all of this because it's a
Okay.
hassle. So, than just throwing it into the whole thing. So that's just something to tell people too. This is why we're doing glass. And I had a link there too that goes straight to it. And there's a video of what's done with it. So I just think people might be interested in knowing all these details. They want to know why they're doing this stuff. So
Gotcha. That's awesome. One of the other things that that recently came up was, and I'm going to ask Patrick to clarify this for us. Well, clarify it to the town so that there's no the rumor mill doesn't get fired up. But
right.
the idea of the nickel recycling is that it's supposed to support the fuel bank. And that's and I know that a lot of people feel passionate about it, and it's an important thing because even though we live in this wonderful community, we have to remember that there are folks that fall on hard times from time to time and could use a little help. I did verify that Jerry Lynn, the social services director, is in charge of distributing those funds. And again, one of the things that sometimes is difficult is making sure that people who need the help know where to get it. And we should, if anybody needs the help, they should be reaching out to Patrick, who will put them in touch with Geraldine. And because that's very important, because if we're going to go ahead and ask for this extra work, well, first of all, people should be recycling anyways, right? Let's just nickel or no nickel, they should be recycling. But if there's a way for us to put a couple bucks in the fuel bank, that's important too. And we'll do a little bit of research before our next meeting and try to find out what the process is. So we can also communicate what that oversight is for the money collected, so that there's no questions about it. Does that sound fair to everybody?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yep, sounds
So
good.
we'll do a little bit of research with that. And again, if we're going to do this and we're going to put our name on it, we want to make sure everything's on the up and up. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now we're in January, but we don't have. Do we know when that other company is coming to collect the bottles and cans that are taking up all the room now?
No, we don't know whenever it said January when they get their warehouse sorted out.
Okay, so we're just on a holding pattern at this time. Okay.
Jessica, let me, I don't know, the way you characterized your conversation with Albert is very different than the conversation I had with him when I last saw him.
Oh,
He seemed, and I saw him about 2 weeks ago. He seemed very hostile to the whole process of recycling the 5 cent. And I just listened to what he said. I didn't make any comments or anything, but maybe you spoke to him after. Maybe he spoke to Patrick and maybe he's more on board now, but he just seemed very negative to the whole process.
oh, and you didn't think that the way I had presented my conversation with him, that he was negative about it? Because he was not happy about it at all. He didn't want to do it. He was
well, okay. That's what
So-
I got from you.
We'll focus on working the problem, and I think that was a great solution. Whether you want to call it a leaf or an olive branch of saying, hey, there's an easier way to do it. If the complaint is lugging the bottles out, it's kind of funny though, because I have a giant clear plastic bag of bottles and cans in my garage right now because we can't get the nickel deposit for it. And just collecting it, and it's the lightest thing on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
They're very light. They're not heavy.
Right. And the glass never went, at least historically, never went into a plastic bag. It went into the little bin. So again, rather than go down that lane, I think just the way that you brought that to Patrick. We found a solution to one of the pains, make it as easy as possible, make it as easy as possible for people to actually do the right thing, right? I think that's how we're going to get the best result from this. So great, and great job putting that together.
Yeah, thank you, Jess. That's good, really good.
Yeah, I want to hear, I want him to understand that he is heard because he's the one who deals with all this stuff.
Right.
I understand that it can be a pain for him to handle it and all that stuff. So I'm just trying to do whatever we can to make it as easy as easy as it can be. And Patrick did go and talk to him too, he said, and he said that there was just no question about it. We are going to do the 5-cent deposit collection.
Perfect.
Good.
Does he have any suggestions as to what to do with it?
Al?
Albert? Yeah,
Yeah,
his suggestion is to
he has all
scrap it.
these.
Yeah. No, he's just like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's his solution.
Not to do it. Okay. Not to do his job. Okay. I love Al though. He's cool. Poor guy.
All right.
He gets whatever we need to do to help him get assistance or whatever it is, I'm just
I
going to.
thought the Boy Scouts were gonna get community service. Anyway, it's a long conversation.
Yeah, no, let's move on from this one.
Yeah.
Great
Jess.
job. Thank you very much. Under new business, well, still under old business, I wanted to add that update in regards to the noise and fuel pollution from the backpack blowers. Tony, you just want to give I know you did some work on this. You want to give 2 minutes?
I did a little work. I looked into what some of the other towns are doing, and this is information I got on the internet. It seems that in Connecticut, there are 2 towns that are doing something about it, Greenwich and Richfield. And I could be wrong, but what I found out, Greenwich restricted the use of backpack gasoline powered leaf blowers to 1 per property. And it's only in effect between like Memorial Day and Labor Day. And I don't know if there are hourly restrictions either, but they ramped it up after COVID because a lot of people were working at home and they were complaining about it. Richfield seems to have just a general noise pollution ordinance that applies to anything that makes noise. And I spoke to the first selectman's office, and they were out at lunch, so the person I spoke to didn't know firsthand about any specific regulation regarding blowers, but she was going to email me back with any specific regulation. I haven't heard back. So those are the only 2 towns I found in Connecticut that are doing anything about it. Nationwide, a lot of municipalities are addressing this issue, and it's mostly in densely populated suburban areas where people are on quarter-acre lots, and if there are 5 or 6 properties with leaf blowers going, it can really make a lot of noise. So they have some towns have instituted outright bans, and others have time of day restrictions, time of year restrictions. So that's about as far as I got.
Yeah. Tony, supporting restrictions in Roxbury is kind of, I don't know what your feeling is, but
I don't know if it makes any sense. We're a small town, big properties. And if we're going to do anything like that, maybe you want to just right in the downtown area. I mean, the bigger issue for people in Roxbury may be what the environmental consequences are with what you do with the leaves, and also the exhaust pollution. But there are 2 issues related to that. One, you've got leaves that are being blown off of lawns, and they're being blown out of leaf beds, but leaves that are sitting on the lawn are actually environmentally beneficial. People don't want leaves on their lawns, but if you can convince them that perhaps they should leave them in their beds, they would have some benefit. And also there is that issue with all that stuff that's coming out of the exhaust of those things.
I think this is a good education for us to tackle. And again, the positive reinforcement of switching to These battery ones, I think will get more mileage than the negative reinforcement of, hey, you're
Right,
doing.
but if you're switching to battery ones, that addresses the noise problem and a pollution problem. But it also, environmentalists are concerned about what you're removing all these leaf beds, and they do have a benefit in terms of favorable impact with the right kind of insects getting in there and bacteria and doing all these things that are, I don't quite understand, but there are environmental benefits to letting the leaves just sit where they are. Now that's not very practical if you have a lawn. But I mean, this year I tried not to remove every last leaf from all the beds. I just left a lot of leaves in the beds so that, whatever benefit they would have, at least we would see that this year.
Well, I think that, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because my computer was showing it might be doing something weird again. I think that in the past, we've done lectures at the library and that sort of thing about the benefits of, letting your lawn grow longer and that sort of stuff. So I think like we said, instead of putting restrictions, or I don't know how that would work, because of all of the different estates and property management companies and that sort of thing, it might be too cumbersome to try to stop that, those things. But if you said, to give incentives to possibly, if you switch over some of your machines, I don't know how we would do that, but Lorenzo, you had mentioned, incentives to get, if you to the battery operated ones, if there's some sort of incentive to do that. And then also just putting the education out there about, like you said, Tony, leaving some of your leaves and how to do that, or how to mulch them in and that sort of stuff. If we just put that information out there and maybe just give somebody some ideas if instead.
Yeah. I've heard secondhand that some of the landscaping companies are actually moving over to electric blowers because they're just more economical for them. They're less maintenance and they work just as well.
So let's put this on the side burner here. It's good conversation to have. I think it needs a little bit more mileage, and at the same time, these leaf blowers. I think this is the year, the electrification year, right? At least that's what we're talking about. I think that there's going to be more benefits, more tax advantages, just all. The electrification is happening now, and we just have to get to that point. And maybe in sometime in the future, if there is either a state benefit or if there is a company benefit that we can help promote, again, positive reinforcement rather than negative reinforcement. Let's not talk about penalties and telling people what they can't do, but educating them on the benefit of doing the right thing, and then maybe bringing the resources to their table, to the front door, rather than having them need to track it down themselves. All right. Thank you very much, Tony, for looking into that. And then new business. So pollinator pathway is coming back around, and we need to really talk about how we can, not individually, but as a group, be more active in that pollinator pathway. And also, as we discussed last meeting, that the way that the Wiener grant was written, it really, a lot of that benefit was supposed to go towards the pollinator pathway. So we do have some funds there too. We want to make sure that we spend them wisely. And then, what we need to do come springtime is also talk about what additional grants we should be applying for, and also what we want to fund in 2022. We did this exercise last year about talking about what we wanted to spend 2021 doing. We should do that again. Probably, I wouldn't say the next meeting, because there's a really good chance that I'm not going to be there, depending on when our little bundle of joy comes. But I would say I'd like to have that as part of the discussion for March is the rest of the year planning. But Tony, pollinator pathway, could you tell us a little bit about what's going on now? I know you're very active.
Yeah, the Roxbury Land Trust reached out to me and to other people that were on that steering committee initially, and with the question, do we want to have a follow-up program this spring? And that would involve maybe, and they suggested speakers, maybe garden tours. I spoke to my wife, who's a member of that steering committee. She's on the member of the Bridgewater Roxbury Garden Club. And she thought, well, maybe it would be a good idea if we could invest some money in not only in speakers, but also if we could get some seedlings that people could plant. And then I said, well, maybe I'll bring this up at a conservation committee meeting, and maybe we can see if there's, we can commit some money to this. So, the meeting is I believe it's the 19th, it's next week. So I didn't want to go in there saying, yeah, we have money, unless I brought it up with the group. I don't know how we feel about it. I don't want to make any commitments without consulting with the group here. So
But
that's where
before I speak, is anybody opposed to being a part of this pollinator pathway program?
I think it's a great thing.
No.
So without any opposition, Tony, I would ask that that when you go to the meeting, that you ask in what way we can, rather than saying, hey, we have X dollar amount that we're willing to throw at this thing, what kind of commitment do you need from Conservation Commission?
Well, I can say, look, what my claim was, look, I could say, we have some money in our budget that we could possibly free up to support some programs. I can't make a commitment because, it's got to go before the board. But let's discuss what we might be able to do, and let's try to put a price tag on it. And then I'll take it up with the board at our next conservation committee meeting and see, if they'll approve it or approve it at what funding level. So, because this is just starting right now. We're in the very early phases. So a speaker is something that kind of makes sense. I'm not crazy about the idea of garden tours, but maybe a few might work. The land trust seems to be hot on that idea. And if we started to invest money in buying plantings, that could get costly. So I don't know if we want to go down that road or exactly how much that might cost.
Oh, we can get creative. We could work with farms. We're building those relationships with the local farms and greenhouses, and maybe there's something that we could be the chain, the missing link in that chain.
Yeah. Keep in mind,
groups.
you have some very opinionated people on the Roxbury Bridgewater Garden Club who are going to say, we got to get the plants from this source. That's the only source I trust. This is the only, so you're dealing with that.
We got Tova, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, we had Tova.
And what about, that
She would mediate well. That would be good.
Yeah. So
I
she'll
the
give us good
library
direction.
garden would be a nice place for a pollinator pathway.
Yeah.
Elementary school, I think that'd be neat.
Yep.
So
Great.
Joey's Trail
And then we
let's
can also do with the Roxbury Bridgewater Garden Club when they do that sale, their annual sale in May.
In May, yeah.
Promote going there to buy pollinator plants. That might be a win-win for the whole thing.
Well, we did that last year. That was very successful. Sold a lot of native plantings at that sale.
Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to direct people in their direction to get, where to get stuff, and it would help them with their fundraiser.
Cool. So Tony, thank you for being a representative to that group, and look forward to finding out what that is. And again, we don't have to go based on just on what our budget is. We do have the the resource of being out there to go look for other grants too. That's
Yeah,
another way for
we
us
do.
to help. So the leading into that is the other part, the other addition to tonight's agenda, which was the solar. So a quick update, we are looking, when I say we, Roxbury is speaking with other companies in regards to the solar, not just the Santa who gave the presentation and all that fun stuff. So that's, Tony, I know that was one of the things that we've
Yeah, I
discussed in the
brought that
past.
up, but
Yeah. So it is something, and the whole idea is to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck with this, with that project. And it's the latest and greatest as well, right? That's important too, because technology is moving so fast. So that's one update. One thing that I keep pounding is that I would like that project to do a triple effect. So solar is, yes, good, but it's also a piece of land that can have multiple uses. It just doesn't have to be a solar farm. And educating, one of the things that they're able to do is to have local non-invasive pollinators be part of that project. Okay. The solar companies like it because it actually decreases their maintenance costs, because basically the pollinators take over and they don't have to mow the lawn other than once a year or once every 2 years. So I think that's one benefit. And the third would be, again, this is more of a pipe dream, but I still believe that there is a possibility to do a walking trail around this solar field. And I would love to link it with the hiking trail, that if the land trust does that hiking trail through that land, so you could go take a pretty rough hike and a nice leisurely walk at the same time on the same trail if you showed desire. So basically the best of both worlds. So technology touching nature and having that use of the pollinator pathway, that would be a huge, huge pollinator field.
yeah, but if the solar fields are going to cover the land, where do the plants go?
So the plants grow up to the solar field. The field isn't solar panel to solar panel, the solar panel like you would on a roof.
Okay.
They're rows. Think of it like vineyards.
All right. Okay.
So there's room between them, and again, because they have to maintain them, the growth, there's specific pollinators that grow up to a certain level. You got to make sure that all this other stuff doesn't grow in it, right? I mean, there is some maintenance, but it's less maintenance than mowing the lawn every couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's something I can bring up at the January 19th meeting with the land trust.
Absolutely, because again, if we're going to do this, the whole idea started with making sure we're using that land the best they can.
Yeah.
If we got a walking trail, a solar panel, and a pollinator field, I mean, what better use is that? I mean, I don't know the better use. Yeah. So, and I think that'll, again, if you guys can think of a better use, great. I did have somebody reach out to me and say, hey, this is a really bad idea. You shouldn't cut down trees to build a solar field. And from what I understand in there's not a lot of old growth up there. A lot of that stuff is new growth. So again, I'm sure there's something we have to look at, but the due diligence will be done.
It makes sense to do that pollinator planting up there, and it would make maybe it would just be a beneficial idea and maybe make people more open. Yeah.
I think it'll be prettier too. I mean, not that that's the be end all, but one of our things is a part of our mission statement is maintaining the rural character of Roxbury, and the prettiness of Roxbury is part of its charm. So And I think, people talk about hiding solar fields. I don't know why anybody would hide this. I'd wear it like a badge of honor and say, hey, we have solar. We are for renewable. We are, and we're making the best of that land. It's not just a for-profit thing. It's doing the right thing. So, all right. So that goes along with the pollinator pathway, public relations and outreach. On Facebook, we reached out to a couple of people. I dropped the ball because Aaron is so on the spot that sometimes I forget that I need to follow up on things. But yeah, there was a couple of people that reached out on Facebook to say that they were interested. I sent them the invitation and the agenda last minute, but we'll work on getting them here for February. So if I am not on the meeting on February and you guys are on the meeting on February, please welcome them with open arms and let's hear what they have to say. And then
We'll
if you
figure
know
it
any,
out in February.
yeah, and if you guys know anybody else, many hands make light work, and I think we got a good thing going here.
Aaron will be back, right? Aaron will be back in February?
Oh yeah, she'll be back.
Okay.
So we talked about solar. Okay. Last thing is for public relations and outreach, we need to put all of our dates for. I got slapped on the wrist because
Lost
the dates
sound.
for. We can hear you, Jess. Can you hear us? Oh, we can hear you. Okay, so we need to put the dates on the town website for our meetings. Do we have any objection to staying on the second Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m.? Does anybody have a recommendation for a change of either time or date?
Well, I mentioned to you earlier, Lorenz, I'd like to have it at 6, but I can live with 7. Other people work, they have commitments, so I totally understand that. So if you want to keep it at 7, that's fine with me.
Caitlin, any feelings either way?
7's better. Sorry, Tony.
No,
Yeah.
I totally understand. I mean,
Thank
this
you.
is, I'm being a selfish retired guy who
Well,
wants to get to bed early.
7:30 would be even better for me, but 7's just fine. Jess, can you hear us? And she's frozen. I'm gonna send her. Oh, we don't have chat function on this thing. I hate that. She's gone and she's coming back. Okay. So with that, then we'll just keep it at Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Second Wednesday of the month, right?
Second Wednesday of the month, 7 o'clock, and we'll push that out to the town schedule. And that was it. That's all I had. Anyone else have anything else to bring before the group tonight?
I was wondering, how we were designating months for certain things, such as, like November and October was Bat Fest. Are we continuing to do that? Or is it just, up in the air?
I think that one of the things that we were doing, especially like Bat Fest, right? That was getting back out in the community. And for the time being, I can't promote getting back out in the community with everything that's going on today.
Right.
I'd be a hypocrite because I'm hiding under a rock here, trying to stay away from COVID as much as possible. So I think that once things kind of calm down and from what I've, the people I've spoken with in the last 2 days, they really feel that March things should look better.
Well, that leads me to, I was going to suggest go along with the pollinator pathway, Roxbury Land Trust and all that good stuff. April is Earth Day and Arbor Day. So it might be something like we could get a talk about the pollinator pathway and kind of get out into the community, because that's when, their seeds are started or they're starting to think about gardening. And so I know the garden club is their thing. Tony, is in May.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're going to discuss speakers at this January 19th meeting I have with
Right.
Land Trust, bringing in speakers and moving this along. So, yeah, we could do that in April.
It's at the end of April too, so it kind of, Earth Day is the 22nd, Arbor Day is supposedly the 29th, depending on, trees planted and our zones
Well,
and
let's-
all that.
Last year, we had a lot of enthusiasm. We had
Cool.
4 consecutive Saturdays with speakers.
Wow.
Tova spoke on one Saturday, and then my wife spoke on another Saturday. We had a woman who runs the Pollinator Pathway Initiative in Newtown. She spoke one of the days, and then did I say Tova? No, and then a woman in Bridgewater spoke. She's very active in the garden club. Adrian Caruso. So I mean that we had a lot of enthusiasm. A lot of people signed up to hear the talks. Not everybody showed up, but a good number showed up.
Yeah.
We had like 30, 40, 50 people per talk.
I just
And
have,
then-
because I thought it was a good thing that we were doing, because it kind of kept people asking me, oh, is anything going on, with the conservation in November? Is anything going on in December? And I'm like, oh, so maybe people are actually like looking forward to, that monthly kind of category, or if you want to put it that way. I don't know.
So I think that's a great idea. Easter is the 17th. Earth Day is the Friday the 22nd. And then Arbor Day is Friday the 29th. And then if you're saying, Tony, that there's a good chance that there'll be speakers throughout the month in May.
Well,
I think
last year
that's-
we did 4 speakers. I don't know if we want to do 4 again. That took a lot of coordination.
Well, we can at least plan for an Earth Day or an Arbor Day, but let's
Yeah.
put that on the agenda for next month. Caitlin, if you could think of some ideas that we might be able to run with, we'll put it in the minutes as well for everybody to start collecting ideas for Earth Day and Arbor Day. And then we could decide, one of the things we learned in October, right, was it was very, while it was fun and exciting and cool to talk about doing everything, something every week.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
tough.
also a lot of work. It was
Right.
tough. So maybe we think up some ideas and put the best ideas forward. We'll put them on the board, put the best ideas forward, the things that we can think that will make the biggest dent, and decide if we wanted to do one or the other or both.
I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up on next Thursday, next Wednesday.
Yeah, the
It's,
19th.
January
Perfect.
19th meeting.
Yeah.
And see what, I'm sure there are gonna be ideas that are kicked around. I'll get back to the group and let everybody know what we discussed.
Perfect. And one other note here, guys, you'll notice that on the agenda, my email address has changed to Nesso Group. We had a merger on January 3rd, so it's pretty exciting stuff. But if for the time being, if you still send something to the old email address, it'll still get to me just a little bit slower. But if I put it up there, if you could just make a note, it's now Nesso Group rather than FLP.
Okay, that's the email address that you sent out. You used to send out the agenda?
I sent out the agenda and I also updated it on tonight's agenda.
Okay, all right, good.
All right, with that, I got a question. Do we have any suggestion for the good of the adjournment of the suggestion for the good of the order? Adjournment.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:12.
Second.
Well, I think we should have discussion until 8:13 since we started the meeting at 7:13. And it's 8:13. There you go. So I'm gonna update the minutes that we are adjourned at 8:13. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you in a month.
Okay,
All right, thank you. Bye.
Good
take
luck.
care, everybody.
You
Thanks
too.
all.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.